The Utah Mammoth is sorta proud to present NASHCAST.
What the is a NASHCAST?
NASHCAST, the only hockey show on the planet. Hosted by a human speed bag, fourth line wannabe, healthy scratch, schnozzy moto, Tyson Nash.
Who the hell is Tyson Nash?
Never heard of him.
And the baritone with a brain, the velvet hammer, Mr. Silky, Tono Suave, the radio voice of your Utah Mammoth,
Code Blue!
Mike Folta.
Oh, Captain, my Captain!
NASHCAST begins now.
Ready for takeoff.
Here's Tyler Ganoush and Mickey Foghorn. Wait, what? Oh, here's Tyson Nash and Mike Folta.
Feeling good. All right. I am on a solo mission to open up the podcast today. We have an unbelievable guest, Utah Mammoth's own Michael Carcone. This is a story, folks. This is a show. This is for all you underdogs. These are for all you dreamers out there that are looking to make the NHL, that were undrafted, that were overlooked, that were told you are too small, you're not fast enough, you're not good enough. And I love it because those are all the things that were told to me. And I was drafted, but I was drafted in the 10th round. They don't have 10 rounds anymore, folks. They have, I believe, 7 now, maybe 6. I'm not sure on that. I think it's 7. But this guy battled. He grinded his way through the American Hockey League. The only reason he ended up in the Coyotes organization and now the Utah Mammoth organization was because of COVID and because he was shipped off and loaned out from the Nashville Predators, who I can imagine are just kicking themselves that they let Michael Carcone slip out of their fingertips. He goes to Tucson, lights it up, gets signed by Bill Armstrong and the Coyotes. He ends up the next year in the American Hockey League, leading the entire league in points while adding fights. Fighting now is a part of Michael Carcone's resume. He's not a big guy. I get it. But when you play on the third and fourth line and you're trying to make an impression, you're trying to get noticed every single night, sometimes you have to do some things that you're not comfortable with. And that is exactly what Michael Carcone has done. Led the American Hockey League in points that year and ended up making the NHL and never, ever looking back. And he talks a lot about his relationship with Andre Tourney, Bill Armstrong, some of the conversations that they had, not great ones, but actually in the end, the best ones because they're always honest. Right. And Carcone, who I didn't know, I've talked to this guy a million times, but he is a fiery dude. And he speaks his truth. And I think coaches, I think a GM really respects that. And on top of that, I think he's really grown up as a human being and as a hockey player. He's continuing to develop. And he was rewarded at the end of all this. He thought he was gonzo. He thought he was gone, not coming back after last season with the Utah Hockey Club. Had a conversation at a breakfast and everything changed from that moment on. And he ends up signing an extension this year. And now he's making some good money. He was on basically the league minimum, just trying to battle through and find his niche and find his way into being a full-time National Hockey League player. And he has done that. With that NHL extension that he got and the confidence. He talked about that, what that's going to do for him moving forward, what that does to your game. And everyone knows you got to be a good hockey player. You got to be able to skate. You got to be able to shoot. But I can tell you this from experience that hockey and anything you do in this life is so much mental. And you have to have a strong mental game because there's so many highs, there's so many lows in the National Hockey League. And you need to know how to manage them and get through them and thrive when things go sideways. And they will go sideways. I can promise you. Just like my hair right now, it's on sideways. But that will happen to your career. It'll happen to you in business. It'll happen to you in life, right? So when you get kicked down and you get kicked, you better get up. And when you get up, you better rise as the whole damn fire. I love that. That's not my quote. I read that somewhere, believe it or not. I can read. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this interview with Michael Carcone. Again, I just want to talk still, though, a lot going on around the National Hockey League, the playoffs. Were we wrong? It is the best time of the year because it's the best hockey of the year. And we have not been disappointed. You got Montreal and you have Carolina. What a battle that is. That series is now tied at ones. So it's going back to Montreal. That building is going to be jumping. So as we tape this, that game is coming on in a few hours here tonight. So that'll be game 3 in Montreal with the series tied. Last night was Colorado and Vegas. Colorado up 3-0 in this game. And Vegas, who just doesn't go away. They literally put you to sleep. They stick a soother in your mouth and they pat your back and they feed you and then they put you to sleep and then they pounce on you. And that's exactly what happened. Even with Makar back in the lineup, Stone was back in the lineup, scored a huge goal in that game for Vegas. No surprise, but Vegas came all the way back in that game, ended up winning it. They are up 3-0 in that series. And I love this guy. I absolutely love him. Scott Wedgwood. What a year he's had. I think he's 33 years of age. He's never played a playoff game, though. And that matters because I think you need playoff experience. I mean, I really do. It's like the Edmonton Oilers all over again. When they needed their goaltender the most in that game last night, when you're up 3-0, you need to make those big stops. And the big stops, and I hate to say it because I love Wedgie. I absolutely love him. I had him in Arizona when he was here. He's an absolute sweetheart. And I will say this, he's completely resurrected his career. The guy is a complete stud, but he's lacking playoff experience, and it certainly showed last night. So I'm not even sure he's going to get the net in the game tomorrow night that my son, by the way, is going to. All right. He's going to the game with Ray Whitney and his son, Huddy. I can't believe it. I'm so pissed off. I never got the invite. I think I could even use my press pass because I want to go to that game in Vegas in that building. My goodness, it's the best time of year. By far, hands down, it doesn't get any better. So, Carcone, again, I hope you guys enjoy this interview. He is one hell of a dude. I think we kept him for over 35 minutes in this interview, and he's as candid as they come. So, hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you on the flip side. Oh, lady, we got a show for you today. Look at these two handsome gentlemen. We got Mike Folta, we got Michael Carcone. Are you kidding me? The pride of Ajax, Canada, undrafted. One of the best stories in the National Hockey League, buddy. What a journey. A story of resilience, believing in yourself. A new contract extension as well. We're going to do a deep dive into that. Congratulations. I don't think I got a chance to say that. But welcome to the show, buddy. I appreciate it, Carcs.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. What an intro, by the way. I think they ripped you in every way possible. That was great.
Wow, you saw my career. You know the resume. Maybe you don't. I'm not even sure if you've ever seen the show or heard about the show. But
I've seen the clips. I've seen the clips too many times.
Faults, take it away, buddy. Come on.
Well, Carcs, we're getting you on here in the aftermath of the Carcone Cup being announced. But before we get to that specifically, I wanted to just kind of ask a encapsulating question, because last year, we weren't sure if you were going to wear Mountain Blue again. And since last year's exit meeting, you've earned the team's Community Obsessed Award. You've signed a 2-year contract extension. And now you've started this Carcone Cup. So when did this 100% buy-in to being in Utah begin?
Yeah, I think, the hockey side of stuff kind of took over mentally the first year. And obviously it's frustrating, and learning how to, grow as a person, as a player. You have to go through those tough times. And I think just coming in with a better mindset this past year, and just, telling myself that, come in with a positive attitude, adapt, find a way to contribute, and be the player you can be. And I think just coming in with that healthy mindset, honestly, just kind of turned the tides for myself, and put me in a good position on and off the ice. And obviously, this community from day one has been amazing to me, and I just wanted to give back any way possible while I'm playing.
That conversation, I've heard briefly a few things about it between you and Bill. Can you kind of walk us through how things kind of transpired a little bit?
Yeah, I think, as I've played on the team, our relationship between Bill and I has grown, tremendously, and I have a lot of respect for him, and he's a very honest person, as am I. So you put those two mindsets together, and sometimes there might be some disagreements, but
I love it. That's great.
But, I think that makes for the best relationships and the best partnerships. So, we've got to know each other a lot over the years, and be fully honest and hold each other accountable in many ways. So I think just that press conference was pretty awesome to hear him say some of that stuff as well. How I can contribute to the team and my strengths and how he sees me. So
he's a huge component of our team. It was interesting. We'll go back a little bit. So after his press conference, he left. I was in Toronto going to see the boys for a little breakfast, and I was going to see Tanev and Dursey. I don't know if it was a planned thing, but Michael happened to be there that day, and we had breakfast. And I felt like he had grown up, and those, he'd taken some steps, and I felt like there was something good about that breakfast that we had.
To touch on that breakfast, yeah, it was my first day at Gary Roberts High Performance Center, and I was fortunate enough that he was having a meeting with Dursey, and none of this was planned, I swear. And he's sitting down having a meeting with Durs, and I think I owed Durs like 3%, 4% of my contract. I was talking to him, and then I left.
Hey, me too, by the way, and Fultz, because we are stroking you every night. Well deserved. We love to do it, but you give us
best agents you ever had, Carcs.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Durs gives it to me after that contract extension. Now he's like, he owe me 4%.
That's great stuff. All right, so playoffs. I mean, you guys make it. I just want your opinion. I mean, how much? Obviously, it sucked to lose, but what an experience just getting there. But who are you cheering for right now? I mean, it has been so exciting. The games every night we're watching overtime, double overtime. But who do you like, and who do you love to watch?
Who do I love to watch? I love to watch Carolina. Just the way they play, honestly. Like, they're so fast and they're on you. You have no room. It reminds me a lot of the way Florida was the last couple of years, and how they're just kind of in your face and quick transition. And honestly, you can't even breathe if you get stuck out there for more than 30 seconds. It's pretty tough. So they're fun to watch. But I think it's a hard question of who I'd root for. I think maybe Vegas. Maybe it makes us look a little bit better, right? So if they go to the finals and whatnot, but that would be pretty cool to say. First time in the playoffs, we went 6 games with the, Cup contenders, Cup champs. So, yeah.
What's it like watching Vegas, and we watched them play against Anaheim the other night? They beat Colorado in Game 1. Like, do you see things that they were doing against you guys, and you can see other teams falling into maybe some of the pitfalls that you guys did? Like, no, don't do that. That's what they want you to do.
Yeah, I was just talking to Bear about it too. I just feel like, with us and our speed, and Anaheim and their speed, they've done a really good job at trapping. And I watched the game last night, Game 1 against Colorado, and it looked like they were kind of doing the same thing too, right? Colorado was just trying to make plays, and they capitalize off mistakes, and they just bore you, man. They make you bored, and then they capitalize. So. They've done a great job. They're a great team and veteran team, so they're very patient.
How much fun was that? The Delta Center, I know the last 2 years, it's been building up towards this, right? The crowds, the atmosphere, the concourse. I mean, I know you guys as players don't get to see it, but it is like nothing I've ever seen. I've been a healthy scratch in this league. I've been around a long time. I've seen the press boxes. I've seen the concourses. I've never seen anything like the Delta Center. All the jerseys. I mean, what does that do for you guys as players? Yeah,
that was amazing. Obviously, having those butterflies going into those games, just knowing the crowd's going to be super loud. And in Game 1, we couldn't even hear the line changes. It was that loud. It was something else. And Vegas has an amazing arena, and it's very loud, and it's one of the best in playoffs. And coming back home and playing in ours, it was like 10 times better than theirs. So that tells you everything you need to know right there. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, and you provided some of the signature moments of that run. A couple goals in the postseason for you. You had One, what was it, Game 4? When the Mammoth scored 4 straight to come back from down 3-0, and was it your goal that gave the team the lead there? I think in the third period, or did you tie it?
I think I tied it. Yeah. I mean, we
Where
probably
did
would have
that-
the lead if I buried the empty netter.
And you got it back though. You
Yeah.
got it back. So where did that one rank amongst like your favorite goals of the season? Because like we have a clip we can show you here in a little bit. There were some great ones for you throughout this campaign.
I think as a player, that'd probably be number one for me. Obviously, you want to be a contributor in playoffs, and you know that's the biggest stage, that's the biggest moment. So anytime you can score in the playoffs, doesn't even matter if it just like hits your leg or your face and goes in, right? Like it just, it's the best feeling. So I'd definitely put that up there, number one, number two.
I got to ask you, so I went to Phoenix, and that's where my career died, right? I mean, it just was what it was, right? Like we were bad, we were rebuilding. And I know Utah, what is it, the Mammoth Daily, you guys talked about that, Foltz with Dom, and he talked about that goal that you scored, that game that you guys won against the Rangers, really kind of catapulted you guys, you know, into just a huge stretch and playoff bound from that moment. But for me, I was like, it was when Clayton Keller came out in the summer and was like, no, we're making the playoffs, or this is considered just an awful year, right? You needed a year maybe to get adapted and adjusted to new life in Utah, all the moves, the families, everything, right? Schools for the kids. But for me, it was Clayton Keller coming out and going, no, we're done with this rebuilding. No player wants to go to a team that rebuilds. But for you, when was that moment?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think anytime your leader, you know, comes in and says like, no, we're making the playoffs, like obviously you don't want to let him down. You want to follow him. And I think as the year went on too, there was moments where we realized like, okay, like we gotta figure out a way here to get over this hump. And then just like touching on that New York game, I remember that too. I think that was probably like our first playoff game mid-season where we were like, all right, like this is how we have to play consistently to make a difference and get us to where we need to be. And that for sure, just through the year, just kind of grinding. But I would say, Clayton for sure led the charge there.
Well, we got that clip loaded up. Let's take a look and relive that moment real quick from, what was that, New Year's Day or right after New Year's at MSG?
To go into New York, the last game of the road trip, you can either leave that road trip in the new year, calendars just changed, New Year's resolutions are up on the wall, and you either go home 1-2 on the road trip, or you go home 2-1. Very different vibe. Michael Carcone gets the puck, and an incredible individual effort, takes the puck hard to the net, scores a tying goal. The team goes into overtime, and Jersey scores an OT winner, and the rest is history. For the rest of the season, they went on a win streak the rest of January. February, there was hardly any hockey. So, you know, the Olympics, all that. But that play, to me, is where the team decided we're playoff bound.
Broke out the bulldozer on that one. What other turning points did you feel like there were throughout the season for you guys?
For me, it was just the way we approached games. You know, like we'd go into Dallas and, you know, it'd be 4-1 for Dallas or something, right? Like there was a big gap in the score. And then now, you know, you're playing these games against Dallas, against, you know, other good teams, Vegas, Colorado, whoever it may be. And, you know, it's 2-1 in overtime, or it's 3-2, or, you know, it's close games. And I started seeing us coming out on the winning side. So I think that once we got that feeling and knowing we could play with those teams, you know, the feeling in the room was, and we always preached it, was like, hey, we can compete with anyone. Like we can, first place, last place, we can compete with anyone. So that was kind of the change that I saw throughout the year.
I got to ask you about your story, your journey. It's a very unique one, and I love it because it was similar to mine. Made it so late, you know, in my career, finally battling out in the East Coast League, the American Hockey League. But for you, Mike, I mean, you go undrafted, right? And for me, I think it was the last pick in the entire draft, 226th overall. Like, I would never even have been drafted today, right? And that never goes unnoticed. But is like the belief system that you have to have, because you don't have a lot of guidance, but obviously you put up numbers. You probably thought you should have been drafted. You never were. How did you still keep just believing in yourself year after year?
Yeah, honestly, I'm just the type of guy that since a young age, I've kind of been looked over, whether it was my size, my weight, whatever it may be. And that was always, fuel for me. I always just used it to fuel the fire. And at one point I got told, I think it was by Jerome DuPont, actually. He might be from your area. I don't know. You're pretty old there.
Yeah.
But he told me, he's like, you're smaller. Like, you got to be like that much better than everyone else. Like, you just have to be better. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So yeah, that was kind of just the mindset. A little shout out to Jerome there. But yeah, I just used it for fuel, man, honestly. And I know a lot of guys give up. And even when I was 26, I was still just trying to grind and make it. And I got to the point where I just added fighting to my game in the minors, and obviously it worked out.
And you led the American Hockey League. I mean, it was unbelievable. So talk about that story, because I tell your story to every kid who I know is struggling, who is pissed off that they weren't drafted, but I'm like, look at this guy. Like, this is an unreal story. Look at his career. Look at what he battled through, and he found a way to make it. And then I think you were with the Nashville Predators organization way back in the day. COVID hit, and you had no place to play, right? That's how you ended up in Tucson. Is that right?
Yeah, I was traded from Ottawa to Nashville, and it was COVID year. I got loaned to Tucson. It was a shortened season, but I had a decent year, and then I ended up signing with Arizona after that, and then just kind of played a few years in the minors with them, and added a few things to my game. And just try to give myself space out there by hitting more and fighting and bucking it up. And I was fortunate enough to get the call one day. And yeah, that's one of those moments where you just say, like, you can't look back, no what ifs, just go for it. So
suck on that, Nashville. That's what you say, right?
Yeah.
That's what I said. I got traded. I'm like, every time I play Vancouver, I'm like, stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
Exactly, right? You have to find those things that motivate you and make you better. And that was kind of I think we're wired the same way. It was just like, suck it. Like, yeah. Yeah.
So you jumped up in the PIMS. I think you never had more than like 70 before, and then that year where you got a taste of the NHL, but then the next year you're a full-time in the American Hockey League and you lead the league. I think you were the first guy to lead the league in scoring and have over 100 penalty minutes or something like that. So you basically doubled your penalty minute numbers in the A. So like, was it that year where you kind of made a conscious effort to create more space for yourself out there? And is that what it was, just creating more space?
Yeah, I think, I got a taste of the NHL and just talking, with management and how we wanted to play as an organization, just kind of opened my eyes. I was like, okay, I can't, just be a skilled guy, because am I going to replace Clayton Keller? No, I'm not going to replace Clayton Keller. I got to go in and play a third, fourth line role. So again, I'm undersized. I just got to find ways to make myself known and give myself space. So yeah, I just started hitting more. I started fighting. Maybe a little too much, but
hey, your nose still looks pretty good, unlike mine. It looks like an elbow on my face.
Knock on wood here. Knock on wood. But yeah. Honestly, I think that year was a really big change. Statistically, yeah, it was great, whatever, but I think just adding those other elements to my game was massive. And I'm not saying you got to go out there and fight, but you got to find ways to make a difference every shift, and just add elements to your game as much as you can.
Michael, you look at your NHL career now, and that's what it's all about. It's been remarkable, but there's also been some ups, highs, and lows. You scored? I don't know what you scored. 21 goals. Yep. In Phoenix, and then last year you had another good year, but you had an off year in between. So how do you manage those highs and lows of your career?
Yeah, that was a tough one for me. Obviously, known as a guy that can produce in the third, fourth line role, and I struggled. I definitely struggled. There's no hiding that, and for me that was hard to deal with because I didn't know what to do. And that's when you start blaming other people, and that's not the way it should be. And you have to learn from those moments. You have to better yourself, and fortunately, in the way hockey works, you get a few months off and then get a little rest and go back to it. So just trying to clear the mind over that summer and honestly come back a better person, better player, and again, a little more fuel for the fire, right? So I came back and I wanted to show that I could still play in the NHL, and yeah, we just move forward now.
Where was your head at the very start of the year, those first couple of games? Because in the playoffs and throughout the whole course of this past season, it's impossible to imagine a Mammoth lineup without number 53 in it. But you weren't in the lineup the first 2 games of the season. So coming off that year where it was tough, where were you at those first 2 games watching from the press box?
Yeah, it's obviously not easy. You want to, help the team. You want to be out there helping in any way possible. And, I think when I was signing the new deal, last summer, I had really good conversations with Bear, and he even told me, he's like, you probably won't start in the lineup, but you're gonna have to earn it. But at some point you will get an opportunity. And I felt like we went in being honest with each other, and we both knew I had something to prove. So I have a lot of respect for Bear and his honesty with me, and he gave me a second chance. So I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, it was obviously tough, but you got to look past it and put your pride aside and just keep going.
We hear a lot about the conversations that you and Bear have had, and it's funny because you guys kind of say the same things about each other when talking about those conversations, and obviously those are private. But can you clue us in a little bit to the temperature of those talks? Are those fiery? Are they passionate? Are they emotional? Like, what are those like?
Yeah, there's definitely some fuck you matches, that's for sure. But yeah, no, it's honestly, it's great. I still remember my second year there when I had the down year. We were in Colorado, and I think we were going at it for like 45 minutes. I'm not going to say what was said in there. We were going at it for like 45 minutes. But like at the end of it, we stood up and gave each other a hug and just, moved forward from there. So it's honestly, it's my favorite relationship. It's awesome. We don't agree all the time, but I just leave there and I'm like, that's great.
But who wants that, right? Like, who wants to always agree? Like, I agree. I'm with you. I have had some big time fuck you matches with coaches. Actually, one of my coaches almost beat me up one time, or tried to, because we went at it. Yeah, no, but as a coach, as a GM, you want that. You want a player to be like, fuck you, you're wrong. I should be playing. I should be on the power play. This is a joke, like all the things, but then you have to back it up, right? Which you did. So that brings me full circle, because I get goosebumps just thinking about it, how your career has evolved. Now you get the contract extension. So well-deserved, buddy. But how does that feel, the belief now moving forward, and the year you had last year to what is going to possibly happen next year? I can't imagine how you're feeling.
Yeah, it feels amazing. Obviously a guy that's been on league minimum when I've signed deals and kind of getting off that, it makes you feel like you're in the NHL a little bit more now, right? But you can go out for those steak dinners, eh?
Yeah, you're not eating at Chipotle.
Yeah. So, it's an amazing feeling. But, the mindset now, I want the same mindset as last year. It's just I got to prove people wrong, and I got to find ways to get better here. So, back to the office, get to working. So, yeah.
Love it. How's the training going this summer? I know you're a busy guy. You have a huge event coming up. We'll get that in a minute, but like the training, is it already started for all the fans out there listening? Like what is it that you guys have to do? When does it start, and how hard do you guys push yourself?
Yeah, I started this week, started Monday, but we're going 4 days a week, and honestly, we're just trying to get back into the swing of things, right? Like do your workouts, get in cold tub, hot tubs, get everything feeling right. Don't overdo it, but definitely get a sweat going. But even my kids are skipping school right now. They're on the ice as we're speaking. So
no way.
It's not just me. Everyone in the Carcone household's working right now.
Grind it. It used to be the beach workout for me. Curls for the girls and bench. That was it. Mix in a leg day once a month.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get away with that anymore now, right? You actually have to do something. But,
so you got the boys, you're chasing them around, you're doing hockey and lacrosse. Are they still doing lacrosse as well? I saw you guys at an Archers game.
Yeah, both boys are playing lacrosse.
No way. Box? Is it box?
They play box back home, but because we're staying here, they're playing field. So it's a little bit of an adjustment.
No way. Did you play lacrosse?
I played a little bit growing up, but I kind of had to choose hockey or lacrosse. There's 3 boys in our household, right? And we're all playing rep sports, so it was kind of like, hey, we can't do both. So yeah, I chose
You're off
hockey.
league minimum now, though. So at least you can afford it. Now it's your poor wife, right?
Yeah. No, they're picking one eventually. You know, when they're gonna hit a certain age where I'm like, okay, like this is enough. So no, they're enjoying it, man. Honestly, I'm just trying to keep them in the groove here with lacrosse and hockey, and whatever one they like more that's what they're going to do, and I'm fine with that.
It's a good transitional sport. I remember Wayne Gretzky used to talk about it all the time. How when you play lacrosse, you have to protect the ball, protect the stick, right, with your body, and it translates into hockey in a big way. Yeah, and honestly, I found like growing up, a lot of the guys that played lacrosse had the best hands, just from like cradling and stuff, and so yeah, hopefully it works. The behind the backers, I used to love that one. Oh, that ball hurt though. You get that in the toe or the coconuts. Oh, you're done. Actually, they're out there right now with Brett Dobson, from the goalie for the Archers, and like this guy doesn't wear any padding when he's playing. I'm like, and he's a goalie. I'm like, what are you? I don't know. And you play with the hard rubber ball? Yeah, the Indian rubber ball. Yep.
Couple screws loose. Well, you're not only chasing the boys around to practice, but you have to appear at this big event because your name's on it, the Carcone Cup. Like, how did this come about? Was this your idea? Had you seen other guys do this? Like, tell us the genesis of this event.
Yeah, I honestly just approached, the Mammoth and was like, I want to keep my boys on the ice. I want to, get them out there, and obviously they're in the minor hockey system here, and I've seen it grow over the last 2 years. So I thought it was just a good opportunity to keep everyone skating and continue to grow the program. You see what like the Vegas Junior Knights, the Anaheim Junior Ducks, Junior Kings have done their programs, and eventually we want to get it to there and have those AAA systems. So the way to do that is by repetition and getting these kids growing and feeling more comfortable in their skates. So yeah, that was kind of, my thoughts on it, and getting them on the ice and keeping them going over the summer. So I wish I could do a little bit more and have more stuff going through the summer, but hopefully we can grow that into something else. Got any big vacations coming up? I mean, we need a little beach time. You got to work on the 10. You're looking like a little pasty there. Unlike my Magda catcher's mitt here I got. No, you get plenty of beach time for the both of us. I'm good. I'm going to stay here and rest up. So you're spending the summer, not going back to Canada? You're going to be in Salt Lake full time? Yeah, full time Utah guy now, but I will probably go home for like 2 weeks in July 6th to 20th or something like that, just to see the parents, do our part so we don't get in trouble, and then, come back. I love it. So a big part of, when I was playing, it was the community stuff. And it hits home. You got to do it. You got to give back. That's the beauty of playing in the National Hockey League, is the platform that we have. And for you, I know you won the Community Obsessed Award this year. You're always out somewhere signing autographs, giving back, but just talk about your passion. Yeah, I love it. The fans are so important to us, and you could obviously see how much they show out in the regular season and the playoffs especially. So if I can be out there and sign a few autographs or make a kid's day, or do anything possible, that's what we're here to do, right? Like that's the fun side of the job. And so anytime I see anybody or they recognize me, they feel so bad sometimes, and I'm like, don't worry about it. Like, this is totally fine. Like, let's get a picture. It creates memories for the kids too, right? So, no, it's awesome. I'm just hoping I can do even more the next few years here. I know that the kids are excited to play in this event. I think, Mike, for you, like, if it's the Carcone Cup, you should be in white gloves and a tux, like, to present this thing, like the cup bearers, when we roll out the Stanley Cup. What do you think? Would you be in for that? Yeah, what's the cup look like? I mean, do you have a design? I have no idea yet. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I just know if you guys buy that, I'll throw it on and wear it for you. I'll take pictures. I'll do whatever you guys want.
Hey, you clearly haven't seen my contract, okay? So I can't even afford a NASHCAST jacket that fits properly.
Can't afford
you don't even
sleeves.
you don't need a shirt on the beach, man. You're good. Don't worry about it.
Cars, there's one more thing too for me. We'll before we let you go, but Joey Moss was a huge part, and I know you're a little bit young. I don't think you were in the league when Joey Moss was around. I think sadly he passed away, but I grew up in Edmonton. He was a fixture in the locker room for the Edmonton Oilers. He'd slide over the opposition's locker room. He would absolutely tear into us. Smile from ear to ear. He would rip us like I've never been ripped in a locker room before. Like, this guy was absolutely a character. He'd sing the national anthem too some nights at the Edmonton Oilers games. But just talk about just the Down syndrome support and with Wells and what it means to you as well.
Yeah, like I said before, like, and you get it, you played, like, hockey, there's obviously bad nights, right, where you're just kind of, this is a tough one, right, and you're just down, and you're just not yourself, and, anytime I would see Wellsy, like, instantly it would put a smile on my face. Like, I swear this kid never has a bad day, and it's infectious, honestly, so, just being with him and hanging out with him is, at the end of the day, the best thing. And any way I can support him and make him part of this and what we do here at the Mammoth is awesome. So, honestly, it just means the world hanging out with him and being with him and being able to celebrate him. And, I'm just hoping, like, as we go forward here again, like, we can do more and make it a bigger thing when he comes to the games and bring his friends and let him experience some of the stuff that I get to experience.
And more socks as well. We need more of those socks.
Yeah.
How cool was that
was
seeing, like,
awesome.
Dylan Gunther walk in with Wells socks and the whole team, right? Like, repping those on that day.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like, honestly, I just put a text in the group chat, and the amount of support I got from my teammates was, like, honestly, I wasn't expecting that. And guys were, like, on board, ready to walk in, like, get the socks going. It was awesome. Honestly, I couldn't have asked for any more. So I'm super thankful that those guys were loving it and part of it. So, I'm grateful for that.
All right. Well, hey, Mark, thanks, buddy. We loved having you on the show. Dude, can't wait for next year, buddy. Cannot wait for next year. What a season you guys are going to have.
Absolutely. And thanks for having me, boys. It's nice to see you.
Thanks, Cars.
All right. Be good.
See you, buddy. Thank you
All
so
right,
much,
thank you, man.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. And I'll tell you what, if you didn't love that, I don't know what world you're living in, because that is as honest as it gets. The conversations, I would love to know the conversations that he had with Andre Tourigny. And I have a feeling I know because I've been there. I've been in his shoes. I've walked into Jack McElharty's office. I've walked into Greg Gilbert's office. I've even walked into Joel Quenneville's office, and I tore a strip off of them. And I'll tell you what, we almost came to blows. And in fact, there was another guy, Patty Conacher. After a game, he ripped me in front of the whole entire team, and I went in there and ripped him up and down. He challenged me to a fight, believe it or not, in the parking lot in San Antonio in the American Hockey League. He was pissed. He was a longtime NHL assistant coach. I was a longtime NHL player. Neither of us wanted to be in the American Hockey League at our ages, leaving our families behind back in Arizona. So we were a little fiery. We apologized later on. It's laughable now. But I always bitched. I always complained because I wanted more ice time. I wanted more power play time, and I felt like I deserved it. And I would imagine Michael Carcone was saying very similar things when he walked into Bill Armstrong's office, when he walked in to Coach Andre Tourigny's office as well. And who doesn't want that? If I'm a GM, if I'm a coach, and a player comes in and just, like, lights me up and is like, give me more. But then when you say it, here's the thing. When you say it, you have to back it up. And that's why I would love it as a coach. And Andre Tourigny loved it because he's a passionate guy. He's an honest guy. And he always talks about the player and then the person, right? So two very different things in his eyes. I love that analogy of that. And then Michael Carcone, again, just, congratulations for the contract extension. I never got a chance to really thank him during the year when it happened and it all went down. But so well deserving. The guy can play anywhere. He can play in your top line. He can play in your fourth line. He can kill penalties. He can play power play. Literally, the guy does it all. and he can fight, folks. He is sneaky, sneaky tough. But I want to say that this is one of the best human beings because he gives back as well. As players, as hockey players, as athletes, we have a platform in the National Hockey League, and people look up to us. And when that happens, what do you do with it? And Michael Carcone, he won Community Player of the Year this year. I don't know the exact wording of it or how they, what the award is per se, but he won it. And he won it because he gives back. His relationship with Wells, the little kid who loves the socks, he pulls them up and he sent out a text chain to the entire team, all the guys, and say, hey, I'm bringing Wells to the game tonight. He loves the funky socks. They can be matching, pull them up, show them off. And all the guys did. Literally all the guys did it. So that tells you how much his teammates love Michael Carcone. And again, he's given back. The relationship that he has with Wells is just so cute. The smile that he puts on his face, bringing him around the guys. It's just infectious, right? And that is a guy who just gets it. He literally just gets it. And on top of that, he has the Carcone Cup. All right. So the Carcone Cup is coming up. I hope you guys sign up. I hope you guys get involved. Because it is going to be one heck of an event. I'm excited to see how that goes. Again, this is a player giving back. He's putting some deep roots into a city, into a state that he absolutely loves, and they love him. We know that. Number 53, he is loved. He is cheered for. He scored some massive goals. And he talked about really one of the turning points of the season this year was, in fact, when Clayton Keller basically said, hey, we're making the playoffs. If we don't make the playoffs, this is considered a bust. This is considering a losing year. We don't have excuses anymore. We're not in Arizona. We have the best ownership group in the entire National Hockey League. We have the best building in the National Hockey League with the best fans in the National Hockey League, the best practice facility. And that, folks, is by far, it's not even close how well these players are treated. So excuses are out the door. And Clayton Keller, I think even Clayton Keller took it upon himself to say it before the coaching staff, before Bill Armstrong even wanted to say it. I think everyone wants to say it because no one wants to rebuild, right? They want to play in the playoffs. And Clayton Keller dropped the bomb, and I don't think anyone was ready to say it, but he was. And I love it. And everyone got on board, and it becomes infectious, right? It becomes a goal. It becomes the bar. And now that bar has been set this year. He talks about that, and this is the new standard now for the Utah Mammoth. There's no more excuses. It's playoffs or bust every single year. They got a taste of it. They played the Vegas Golden Knights, and look what the Vegas Golden Knights are doing. And they almost took it to the Vegas Golden Knights. Obviously, they had a couple heartbreaking losses. They were up 2-1 in the series, I believe, and obviously just couldn't find a way to finish it off. So there were some big learning moments for the Utah Mammoth. As you saw, if you were in the building, and that building was so loud. I have never heard anything like it. The players talked about it. They couldn't even hear the coach talking about line changes, who was up next, because the building was so loud. So love everything about it. This organization, folks, if you're not paying attention, is going in the right direction. And I'm not just, it's not baby steps. It is full steam ahead. It is F-16, all right? And we're taping this on Memorial Day. So thank you. God bless our troops. God bless America. I'm not American yet. I'm trying. I am trying, folks. I got my green card. Next steps is becoming an American citizen. And I feel like I already am because I've been here for so long, almost 25 years in this amazing country, and we are headed in the right direction. So thank you to all the men and women serving for our great country. And it's free, right? Freedom. It's not free. It's not free. But thank you. With all my heart. So thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Michael Carcone, he is one of the best guys in the world. If you're looking for a jersey, if you're looking for a player to support, go buy a 53 jersey. They are absolutely sick. Black is my favorite. All right. Intimidation factor. It still exists. So thank you to Michael Carcone for all your time. Enjoy your summer, buddy. Get back training. Can't wait to see you next year at training camp. And for all the hockey fans and the NASHCAST fans, thank you guys for listening. Follow along on all our socials, Instagram official, YouTube, NASHCAST official on YouTube as well, Spotify, Apple, TikTok, as well. So we're a little quiet on TikTok these days, but follow along. We are continuing to grow. We're a few followers away from 9,000. So spread the love, tell your friends, subscribe. We appreciate it. Love you all.